was a few years ago. I was working for an entrepreneur friend, and he needed help. He had lots of different businesses. He had a ranch in Mendocino. He had an olive oil company. He had a winery, and he was wanting to open this natural burial company, right? So he had a lot of stuff going on, and he needed to hire lots of different people, but he could only afford one really good one. So I told him I'd help him for a bit. And I stepped in to start and manage a lot of different projects for him. And I whipped him into shape a little bit too. And then one day we were doing some work, and he looked at me and he said, "Rebecca," he said, "I know what you are. You're a manager." And I kind of stopped in my tracks because I was like, knowing what I'm doing for you, I am definitely not a manager. I am more like a business shaman at this point. But he branded me as a manager because I hadn't branded myself. I wasn't telling my story, and he filled in the white space that I created. So what I learned that day was, if you don't own your own story, someone else will give one to you. Because people can't stand a vacuum. They have to label, right? And if their story for you is wrong, it is really hard to rewrite it in their minds. And you'll end up, if you don't have the story that you want, you'll end up in a job that you don't want, in a place that you don't want to be, with a title that you could care less about. And I know you want more for yourself than that. So we need to go back into the presentation, and we're going to talk a little bit about leadership and what's your leadership brand, because you have to brand yourself, because you don't want other people doing that for you. Okay, so brands. All right, brands. We all know what a brand is. Brands help us make decisions, right? Brands are useful because they help us decide what to buy when there are many choices. They help us make decisions when everything otherwise looks the same, right? A brand is shorthand. A brand is essence. And a brand is a story. And what I want you to remember today, what I want you to leave with, is that you are in control of your story. You are in control of your story. You have the power to influence the way others see you. If you want to be a leader, you have to cast yourself as a leader by communicating your unique brand of leadership. So that begs the question, what is your brand of leadership? I was on a plane from Texas to San Francisco not so long ago, and there was a woman sitting next to me, and her name was Patricia. She was in her late 50s. She had kind of graying hair, and she had a very soft way about her. And I remember she was even apologetic because she kept accidentally pushing into, my space on the plane. But we started talking, and we started talking about our careers. And when I told her I was a story coach and that I helped executives with communication skills, she asked if I could help her. She said that she was looking for a job, but she didn't know how to put her wide-ranging career into a clear story. And she was worried that no one would want to hire her because she was a little bit older. So Patricia became a client, and as we worked together, it became clear that she had worked in high-level roles in education and at nonprofits throughout her career. And she had even worked with Mr. Rogers. And if you don't know who Mr. Rogers is, please look him up after the presentation, because this man is incredible. So we worked together to help her tell a story of leadership in social justice. We gave her a commanding, straightforward elevator pitch that really shared her brilliance. And I coached her to deliver it with power and conviction, so she actually believed it. And her demeanor changed after she practiced that pitch a bit, because she started to believe it. And we told her leadership story, and she was awarded by getting a leadership position at a major nonprofit not long after that. So again, notice how that was a success story for me, but it was also a success story for her. I balanced the two, right? So I ask you, how will you define your brand of leadership? How will you tell your story? Because you are the one who gets to tell it before somebody else does. And I encourage you to tell us a story that really shows the genius that you bring to the world, because every one of you is completely a unique, different, individual, beautiful woman, and you have magic to bring to the world. So what is that genius? What is that story? Please tell us, and tell us with confidence.